The Mule's empire spreads silently and swiftly. Using his unique ability to alter emotions and bind loyalty, he controls vast territories once ruled by the Foundation and the crumbling Galactic Empire. Yet peace eludes him. Victory over the first Foundation wasn't enough. Something hidden remains, something dangerous. A second force, rumored only in whispers, lurks in the dark. The Second Foundation, the supposed keepers of Selden's true plan. They operate from secrecy, somewhere at the other end of the galaxy. The Mule, haunted by the unknown, fears what they might do to undo him, and so begins his obsessive search. The Mule calls upon Han Pritcher, once a loyal Foundation captain, now a converted agent of the Mule's cause. He pairs him with Bail Channis, a young, intuitive officer untouched by emotional manipulation. The Mule suspects that subtlety may succeed where brute force failed. Their mission is to find the mythical Second Foundation, its location, its leaders, its vulnerabilities. Channis appears confident, even smug, while Pritcher broods, quietly resentful. The two set off across the stars aboard a disguised vessel, equipped with surveillance tools and the Mule's indirect presence. Neither knows how close the Second Foundation may already be. As the ship jumps from system to system, Channis offers theories, maps, and logic puzzles, all building a case that the Second Foundation is hidden on Tazenda, a quiet, agricultural world. Pritcher grows uneasy, suspecting Channis may know more than he admits. The young man's ease with vague sources and his calm demeanor irritate the older, emotionally altered officer. Their conversations grow sharper. Pritcher begins to wonder if the mission is as straightforward as the Mule claimed. What if Channis is a puppet of the very enemy they're hunting? Paranoia and doubt begin to crack the fragile partnership. They arrive at Tazenda's outer system, observing the planet Rossum, a quiet satellite world under Tazenda's influence. Rossum appears barren, with primitive tech and compliant farmers. Channis insists they land there first, suggesting the Second Foundation would choose anonymity over prominence. Pritcher protests but obeys. As they descend, Pritcher is consumed with conflicting thoughts. His loyalty to the Mule wars with his unease about Channis. On the surface, they are met by monks who speak in riddles, hinting at Rossum's deeper layers. Somewhere beneath the snow and silence, Channis believes they will find minds that bend the galaxy. On Rossum, Pritcher and Channis explore the icy settlements. The monks are polite, evasive, and curiously calm in the presence of off-worlders. Channis remains intrigued by their subtle intelligence and lack of fear. Pritcher, however, grows more agitated. He senses that the villagers are not what they seem. There's too much comfort in their poverty, too much knowledge beneath their simplicity. Channis suggests that this might be the camouflage of the Second Foundation. Pritcher begins to suspect that Channis's confidence doesn't come from theory. It comes from familiarity. The feeling of being surrounded by unseen watchers grows unbearable. Without warning, the Mule arrives on Rossum in secret. His ship lands silently, and his presence floods the small planet with invisible dread. He confronts Channis and Pritcher in the snow-covered ruins, revealing he had been following the mission from afar. Now he takes command directly. The Mule confronts Channis, demanding to know if Rossum truly hides the Second Foundation. Channis calmly admits that it does, and that he knew all along. But he denies being a traitor. He insists that the truth could only be uncovered this way. The Mule is unconvinced and prepares to bend Channis's will. The Mule unleashes his mutant power, reaching into Channis's emotional core, attempting to twist loyalty, sow fear, and demand surrender. But something is wrong. Channis resists, not through strength, but through calm. He reveals that he is a second Foundation agent, trained in the mental sciences. The Mule realizes he's been outmaneuvered, not through brute force, but through quiet calculation. As the two minds clash in invisible combat, the air around them feels charged. Thoughts twist, pressure builds, and for the first time, the Mule faces resistance he cannot predict. For the first time, he feels fear, not from others, but from within. The duel ends not with violence, but with silence. The Mule collapses to the ground, mentally exhausted. The Second Foundation's agents, watching quietly from the shadows, have intervened at the final moment. They do not kill him. They do not imprison him. Instead, they alter his mind subtly, gently, reducing his obsessive need to find and control the Second Foundation. They leave his empire intact, his power preserved, but his purpose gone. The Mule no longer searches. He rules as a quiet figurehead, unaware of what was taken. Channis watches from afar, aware that the galaxy has been gently nudged back onto the Selden path. Now stripped of his obsession and no longer aware of the Second Foundation's existence, the Mule resumes his rule peacefully. His mind, once a blade honed by paranoia, becomes dull and disinterested in conquest. His closest aides see a subtle change but cannot name it. He speaks of peace, not war. The urgency once driving him to uncover hidden threats is gone. Across the stars, his territory remains intact, his influence undisturbed, but his destiny has shifted. The galaxy breathes a sigh of relief, unaware that its most dangerous predator has been defanged by minds working behind a curtain of silence. Bail Channis returns to the Second Foundation under layers of secrecy. Deep beneath the surface of Rosem, he meets with the true leaders, Mentalics who operate in utter anonymity. They commend him for his performance, his endurance, and his restraint. The confrontation with the Mule could have destroyed the plan, but now, Selden's vision remains intact. Channis, no longer a mere observer, is invited into deeper roles. The Second Foundation will continue its hidden stewardship of human history, guiding minds instead of governments, preserving the psychohistorical trajectory laid out by Harry Selden centuries before. With the Mule neutralized, the Second Foundation quietly assesses the damage. The Selden plan had nearly collapsed under the mutants' unpredictable power. But with adjustments and strategic interventions, the timeline stabilizes. Second Foundation agents across the galaxy recalibrate social trends, redirect political tension, and reinforce key cultural patterns. They do this invisibly, using mental influence, not control, to steer civilization gently. No one knows they exist. No one must. The First Foundation thrives, believing itself to be the sole guardian of Selden's legacy. But in truth, it is only half the equation. The other half watches from the dark, unseen and unremembered. As the stars wheel above Rosem's silent snows, the Second Foundation endures in secret. It is not a place of cities or armies, but of minds trained to think beyond ego and fear. They do not seek power, but balance. Their mission is not conquest, but course correction. The galaxy marches forward, unaware that behind every major shift, every cultural swing, a mentalic hand may have adjusted the fulcrum. The search by the Mule has ended, not with blood or fire, but with subtlety and silence. And while the First Foundation builds with science and steel, the Second Foundation safeguards with thought.